Sometimes when I'm thinking about us, before we got lost and we parted, back to back we would carry on and we'd do anything for what we started. But this time we could break. I'm running dry, everything's the same. We'll try tonight, this time we're not safe and sound. Not safe and sound. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. Sometimes when I'm reasoning about us, I know you got me, it's so effortless. Back to back we would carry on and we'd do anything for what we started. But this time we could break. I'm running dry, everything's the same. We'll try tonight, this time we're not safe and sound. Not safe and sound. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me? Yeah. What if I'm no good for you? What if you're no good for me?
Welcome everybody to the FPV News with JB and my esteemed co-host. Hey there, Blunty. How you doing today?
Hey Joshua, how's it going today?
I'm also doing very well. I'm very excited to be doing the news with you because we have got some big stories this week. I know I say that every week. There's some pretty exciting stuff happening this week.
Yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you know, that kind of thing.
little bit of new products, a little bit of an account hacked and money stolen, a little bit of a little bit of drama. We got some drama between Pawel, the INAV developer, and Johnny 5, the rebel rouser YouTube creator.
Yeah.
For once, some drama that I'm not involved in. So that's nice.
Yeah.
You don't get involved in drama very much, do you?
I try not to, though sometimes some of the stuff I say here, eventually, sometimes I get private messages. Like, but most of the time, I try to stay out of the drama. So.
You see, you're able to fly below the radar so far. You've managed to, you haven't gained enough notoriety in it's more than a year. Has it been a year?
I think we're coming up on a year, maybe somewhere in there.
Somehow you've managed to stay below the radar enough that you can still talk shit about people. And they're like, who is this guy?
Yeah, pretty much. So.
Once upon a time, I got a personal email from the owner of a company when I was a very, very small YouTuber, disagreeing with some of the points I had made about their product in a video. And that was when I was like, why are you emailing me? I'm nobody. And nothing ever came of that ever again.
Yeah. Well, some people would say I'm negative. You know,
I've heard that about you. I've heard that about you, that you're a little too negative. I feel like you're just negative enough, at least enough for me, Blunty. You're my
absolutely.
kind of negative. I feel like we vibe.
Yeah, for
Blunty,
sure.
before we get into the news, did you see yesterday's live stream? I'm it's fine if you didn't. If you don't watch all my
I
live
didn't.
streams.
I did not know.
Can I share something with you? I don't know if it's in the Discord. I'm going to share it with the stream also. It's the Reface app. Have you
Oh,
seen
right.
this?
I know about it. Yes.
This is I would almost say this is newsworthy. So Reface is apparently an app that like deep fakes your face onto, well, anything. And people have been doing it to me. I don't even know what these videos are. I feel like that scene in Being John Malkovich where he goes into his own head and everyone is him. And he's just like, Malkovich. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's wrong. It's just wrong. Do you think it would work with your face? I mean, the beard, do you think I wonder if the beard would throw it off.
I don't know. I always have problems with the beard in any of those face detection apps and stuff. So
Yeah.
probably
All
not,
right.
but maybe.
Well, maybe someone will give it a try. In the meantime, let's get on with the news. And I always like to start with a little bit of a highlight, some of the top stories for this week. What's your favorite story this week that you're looking forward to?
Well, I know a lot of people are excited about the HDZero 1 watt VTX footage we're going to take a look at. That seems pretty exciting. Finally see HDZero pushing forward into uncharted territory for them. So
Maybe DJI territory, who knows? Anyway, we're going to open with that story. We're not going to make you wait any much longer. The world record for FPV speed has apparently been broken at 316 miles an hour. And I have not seen the footage yet, so I'm looking forward to that.
We kind of addressed you addressed it a little bit at the top. Caddx, unfortunately, has been hacked, and payments were sent to the wrong PayPal address. So we'll take a look at that and kind of quickly go over how maybe you can make sure that you weren't sending stuff to the wrong place. So.
Yeah, if you bought something from Caddx lately, we have you need to watch this one. And I guess the one that I have personal stake in is of an OpenTX Voicepack of me has come out, and we'll talk about how you can get that and what's going on with that. But before we get into that very first news segment, let me thank all the beautiful people here in the chat. Thank you guys so much for coming out and watching the FPV news and hanging out with us. And thank you also to these beautiful, beautiful people, the most attractive, smartest FPV. You're in there, right, Blunty? Okay, good. My patrons over in the Discord server, hanging out. And if you want to join them, there's a link in the video description to my Patreon page. It's one of the best ways to support me. So you can sign up there and subscribe to me. For as little as $2 a month, you can keep me from having to get a real job.
Honestly, one of the best places you could possibly go to like learn stuff about FPV or like communicate with the community, other than like just random Facebook groups and stuff. It's really well like we kind of curated a good community over there. I feel like
and I would love to take responsibility for it, but honestly, it's way grown past me. You guys, I mean, I was the seed, but you are the leaves on the tree.
I think I have over 100,000 messages in that Discord now. I'm catching up to Hero, but we've got. If you have any problems or anything, or you need to learn anything, you come over there. Pay JB $2 a month, and you can hop in this Discord and find out what you need to know. So,
and you can get. You can also get stuff like this. Which, let's face it, I mean, everyone needs more of that in their life. Okay, no more of that. Let's start with what I think, and I think you agree, is the number one story this week, the HDZero /Sharkbite 1 watt VTX. You know, I've been saying the 200 milliwatt VTX is good, but doesn't have enough output power, doesn't have enough range. And this 1 watt VTX, that's what I want to see. And finally, we have some footage leaked by Alex Vanover. Should we just dive in and watch the footage?
Yeah, let's go to the second link, actually. We'll credit Ryan Quillett for this footage. He brought it to us from Alex Vanover. But we've actually got just a full clip for you so we can watch.
Maybe. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
All right, so this is going to be downloaded streamed from OneDrive and then streamed to YouTube. So please acknowledge that the image quality is going to look like trash to you. But what I want to see is how much breakup there is. No one is allowed to criticize the camera because this is doubly not raw footage.
Also, hot secret here. This is a nano camera, so you're seeing footage from a nano camera. Just for the information.
And I'm excited to see the full DVR because that little clip that he released, I kind of was wishing it was longer and I could see him fly a little more. But so we'll see if we get that. Yeah, the resolution here, OneDrive streaming it is already down-resing it heavily. But I mean, we should be able to see if there's breakup, and that's what I think I'm most interested to see. Like we're seeing a little bit of scattering there. I mean, I see a tiny bit of breakup. This is the part that he put on his YouTube, I think. Like right about any minute now. I mean, I'm seeing a little bit of speckles, Blunty. I don't know if they're making it out to the live stream. Oh,
yeah, a little bit of speckles. Yep.
The link to this video is the link to this video is in our show notes in the video description. If you really want to, you should download it from OneDrive. Don't stream it, download it from OneDrive, and you can literally see the actual DVR file that came off his SD card. This is one of the only times when people usually don't make that available for bandwidth reasons and stuff, but and by the time you click the link, maybe the bandwidth OneDrive will be like, nah, but you could give it a try if you want to see the raw file. My first reaction was that at this range, I'm a little disappointed to see like any speckles at all, but I do think it's doing better than the 200 milliwatt would have been.
That's fair. I definitely want to see, I talked a little bit to Ryan about this a little bit earlier today, is, this is cool, but I want to see comparison with analog next to it. Let's just get on the same channel and then fly them back to back with the same kind of flight, doing the same stuff through the trees. So we can just see, like, is there static on the analog in the spot too? Is it something about, that sort of thing?
Interference or something.
Yeah, where he's standing and stuff. It's always good to know that kind of stuff. But this is just kind of Vanover is kind of doing a little tester flight and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I wish he would go like behind the building or something.
He does a little bit.
He goes
near
inside.
The end, he does. Yeah, at the end he does some behind the stairs stuff a little bit. So there's like kind of directly blocking.
Yeah.
But yeah, he doesn't go too deep.
You know what else I think is fascinating? This is SharkBite DVR, so it can't have any stabilization. I mean, in theory, I guess he could have used gyroflow on it, but I don't think he did. He's super freaking smooth. Like, if you showed me this GoPro, I would say there's hyper smooth on it.
That's
He's a beast, that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's a line.
I was going to say, skip a little. If you skip a little farther in, we can see that. Yeah, somewhere right around here. He'll kind of go back and forth around.
Okay.
Into the stairs area here.
Yeah, oh, there you go. Now okay. Okay. It's not. It's just one test.
Right. I want to see more.
I want to see more, but it's not knocking my socks off. It's not knocking my socks off. Yeah. That one was better.
It depends on how you compare it too, right? Because if you're saying like, oh, I'd be happy flying DJI here, right? Then that's a different thing to say than, oh, I'm flying analog here, and compared to this. Because I don't know, I think if you probably compared analog on a 1 Watt VTX, similarly, I bet, I don't know, I bet it would have a lot of breakup, and it would still like, I don't know, it looks a lot better than analog, right? So it's kind of the question of like what you're trading off there. But again, I want to see that comparison. I want to see that same thing where we can just see those frames of like, hey, let's look at one pass in that same spot, and then kind of get a good idea.
33 Eyes in the chat says this was on a dipole antenna. It wasn't a circular polarized antenna. That's kind of, I feel like SharkBite HDZero rather should be very, very careful with they need someone to do their marketing for them, and I'm not volunteering, but especially as much hope is hanging on this VTX, they need the stuff that's getting out. I'm not saying they should be dishonest, but they should definitely show it in its best light. And I like if this was flown on a dipole antenna instead of a circular polarized antenna, so it looks worse, because people are going to form a first impression. And
it definitely was flown on a dipole, but I know, you know, DJI it seems better on a dipole sometimes. So I don't know. Kind of depends. I don't know if it's like similar because it's dual FDM or because it doesn't do retransmits, the dipole doesn't help, or anything like that.
Yeah.
But one thing also real quick, if you click on Ryan's video there,
Sure.
the original one, and skip near the end, we can get a look at that VTX so people can...
Oh yeah, definitely. So this is Ryan Quellett's video where he posted it originally. Now this is the same flight. No music, please. Thank you. This is the original flight. Somebody points out that if he had gyro flowed it, the OSD elements would move around. Good point. So we know it's not stabilized. I didn't think it was, but here is the actual VTX. Hang on. All right. Oh, too far. There we go. So those holes, the holes are 30 millimeter mounting holes, and it's about 40 millimeters on a side.
So not the smallest thing in the world. It's gonna. I think the hard thing is gonna be where to fit it. It'll be similar to like, hey, where can I cram an air unit? You know.
Yeah.
I think
it's tricky. It's tricky. That's a weird thing to try to mount. You know.
Yeah.
Like I know they didn't want to do a two-board solution because the original two-board VTX had durability issues. But that one is also going to be tricky to mount. I'm sure people will figure it out. It's not micro, Guillermo Nispolo. It is 20 millimeter.
I'm excited to see more footage and see some comparisons to 1 watt analog. I think the pitch for this is going to not be like, hey, if you fly DJI or know about it, you know, if you're like in that market. I think this is more like, hey, do you have an HDO2 and you want to buy a SharkBite VRX and hop into SharkBite and suddenly fly this Bando way clearer with similar breakup, you know, and that's what I want to see on those comparisons. So.
I think their argument is that they are not trying to beat DJI at DJI's own game, which is pointless because no one's going to beat DJI at their own game without some kind of handicap. But they're going to try to beat analog, and hope that there's enough people out there who like the things that analog brings but want better image quality.
Yeah, I mean, static latency is definitely a selling point for a lot of people, especially people who I would say haven't flown DJI to like make that decision based on that link. You know, they're looking at, hey, I have static latency on analog, and I don't want to not have static latency, so I want a good solution to hop up to. So again, I think it's promising. I want to see more video out of it, and hopefully, you know, rumors are anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months on release date for this thing, but hopefully we'll see it pretty soon. So.
All right, well, fingers crossed. Moving on, we got another piece of news about HDZero. This time it is some cameras from Foxeer, not just for the HDZero system, but also for DJI.
Yes. So we've got the new Foxeer Apollo. This is the DJI camera. Unfortunately, not super exciting for most people. This is going to be another 60 FPS camera, this time from Foxeer. So I guess we'll have to see what they bring us, and if it's that great. A little bit different here. They have a starlight option, so there's a different comparison, you know, with the different lenses here you could do for different FOVs.
Half-inch sensor, I like. They're being a little bit. I think are they being a little bit, let's just say, misleading here with this 3 millisecond latency? The 60 FPS cameras don't have 3 millisecond latency.
Yeah, well, it's just, it doesn't, 3 millisecond isn't like the thing anyway. You say 28 milliseconds, so I don't even know where 3 came from. I assume there's some kind of sensor latency they're measuring.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so I think they're being a little misleading here. I mean, 60 FPS is when you talk about DJI cameras, you talk about the round trip latency, and you would say it's 35 to 40 milliseconds typically for a 60 FPS camera. For them to say 3 milliseconds, I think they're trying a little shenanigans there. So it's the same damn thing for the SharkBite one. So, little shenanigans up there, Foxeer. You watch yourself now. I've got my eyes on you, Foxeer.
Yeah, so hopefully those are good. There's a little bit of preview video, but nothing nothing like really that great out yet. So I'm kind of hoping for some reviews on those pretty soon. I know the
Yeah.
Digisight 3 already shipped one round of them. I think the next round ships on the 7th. So yeah, hopefully we'll see those soon.
Well, I think they're sending me one, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I know I don't have one, that's for sure. Next up, we got a PSA. If you shopped at is this just the Caddx FPV website, Blunty?
Yes, as far as I know, it is just their main website, like PayPal transactions done through their website.
So if you bought Caddx products from any other retailer, it's not a big deal. And specifically, if you paid with PayPal.
Yes, as far as I know, it was just PayPal or whatever. I don't know if they use a backend that like processes things into PayPal, but the only way you'd be able to know is if you paid through PayPal. And basically, they sent a lot of people this. You may have gotten this email, so you should probably check your email if you did make an order. And you probably got this email. They sent it to quite a few people. I've gotten it from quite a few different people. Basically, what happened is somebody hacked their website somehow or changed the address that the PayPal was going to, is what we can kind of discern from this message. And instead of PayPal's, I believe it was like a QQ address or something getting the PayPal, instead it was PayPal at PayPal at Caddx.ml.
Okay.
So if you see that on your statement, for so far from the people I've talked to, on their PayPal statement, it says they sent something to PayPal at Caddx.ml. So I would say reach out to Caddx, give them your order number, and say, hey, I heard you were hacked. This is my order number. Should I cancel my PayPal? I mean, I wouldn't say do it preemptively, but I would check for that address and then contact Caddx.
So Caddx isn't saying the way I read that message was that Caddx wanted you to look at your PayPal history, and if you saw the Caddx.ml, you should try to refund it immediately.
Yes, but
that's not what you're saying.
They did not put that statement out publicly anywhere. They only emailed it to people.
I see.
And because of that, and because they did not specifically list that PayPal address, I know that from talking to people.
Gotcha.
I don't want to be presumptive and have you cancel an order. So I would just say, if you see that information, I would reach out to Caddx, or if you see this email, reach out to Caddx, confirm this, and then I would start canceling an order. What I will say is, no matter what, your order was shipped. So they shipped all these orders. The tracking would have gone out. All that stuff would have happened, and you would see it just as normal. But unfortunately, the payment you made went to the wrong address. So again, I would look for this email,
Caddx wants you to Caddx isn't going to get this money back, though. Well, you're going to request a refund potentially. Yes, potentially you'll request a refund. Potentially the scammer won't get the money.
Yeah,
you're just getting free stuff from Caddx is the takeaway.
Yeah, I've talked to somebody said in chat PayPal will not refund for that, but I've heard quite a few people already got an instant refund from PayPal for that. So not sure what to do.
We should also say that this is not a carte blanche invitation for unscrupulous people to try to get their Caddx orders refunded after they're shipped and steal things from Caddx. Caddx is the victim here. And if you didn't, you should contact Caddx, which, just like Blunty said, before you just request a refund.
Yeah. Check and see where you paid to. And then if it looks weird or you got that email, then shoot a message to Caddx support, let them know what's going on with your order number, and make sure you should cancel. But I would do that.
The big question, and we don't know the answer, Blunty, so I just want to preface this by saying this is pure speculation. Like, how did this happen? My guess would be it was one of their employees who had access to like the Shopify backend and did it. The chances, no?
I don't think so. I bet it was some unsecured server somewhere, or some default password they used, or
that's fair.
Some like leak something or other. I mean, that would be my guess.
Okay. Yeah, could be a default password or something on their back end. Like, I don't know that they use Shopify, but that's fair. I doubt that. I think if we were to find the details of the hack, it would not be like, it would not be a very sophisticated hack. It would be kind of a dumb human engineering kind of a thing, is how it feels to me, but who knows? Yeah, web host keys unsecured, various things. Anyway, hopefully they've sorted it out, and hopefully they didn't take too big of a hit.
Yes.
But there you go. Alrighty, next up, EdgeTX. We're both a big fan of EdgeTX. We run it on our daily driver radios.
Yep.
And one of the cool features of EdgeTX is that it has themes. But it's not so easy to make themes, is it?
No, it's you got to edit a YAML file, I think, a YML file, to like edit in the colors, and you got to know what all the names of the different sections are and stuff. So a enterprising member of the community, Edmundas, made a app on GitHub, and you can also there's also a link to the GitHub project if you want to edit it or use it yourself. And you can come in here and easily just edit all the colors on a theme. You can see what effects they'll have, and you can flip through a couple different pages there to make sure you can see what all the colors do. And yeah, it's pretty cool.
So basically, we were talking about this before the stream, Blunty. Right now, pretty much all you can do is tweak these colors. Like that's all the themes are, is basically a palette swap. There's nothing more. But that's still pretty cool. If people want to customize the colors, there isn't really an easy way to do it, or hasn't been until now. Yeah, go ahead.
And then I was just going to say, this also lets you edit another one. So if you wanted to open one that's already existing, or you got from somebody else, you could easily edit it. Then you just save it and drop it in the themes folder in your Edgetx radio. But basically, coming up, there's going to be in 2.6, they're adding more support for themes. So basically, you'll have a themes folder, but each of the themes will have their own folder, and then you can add a background image and a little bit of extra stuff. There's some preview images and stuff.
Yeah, you made a theme.
Yeah, so now so I made a little theme, and then I went ahead and changed the background image just to show you, what it'll look like.
There's this really nice, I guess that's a Christmas tree in the winter for the holidays. Yeah, very nice, very nice.
Yeah, this is
kind of snowy.
Yeah, my Christmas theme. Yeah.
Why is there no red? I would expect Christmas to be like red and green and white, but it's just green, and then it's like this sort of snowy, fat Christmas tree. I don't know, whatever you're into, Blunty, I guess. Yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah, so it's fun. It's super quick and easy to make a theme. And yeah, so you can do whatever you need to do there. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I did include a Google Drive link in the show notes, so you could download that theme and the background image. And if you want to change it out, you just replace it. There's a default background in the OpenTX or in the Edgetx folder. You can just swap that out with that one if you wanted to change it for some reason. So
cool. And Edgetx theme support is growing. Like right now, it just does colors, but like for example, I was surprised to learn that theme support didn't set up the widgets for you. Like I would think that widgets would be part of a theme. Do you know if that's something that's planned?
I don't. I think previously widgets wouldn't even transfer and stuff from OpenTX. I believe they're just getting that all cleaned up, and then I would imagine it'll like come after that. I'm not exactly sure how all that widget support comes into that.
Yeah. But I'm disappointed that it's that I have to. I can't copy widgets from model to model. I have basically the same widget layout for almost all my models. There's a few cases where the telemetry sensor is named something different, like between Crossfire and Express LRS. But for the most part, I have them set up the same, and it would be really nice to be able to do that. Anyway, just whining, I guess. Thank you very much to Edmundas for creating that HDX theme creator. What's next, Blunty?
All right, we've talked quite a bit about drone deliveries on this show, and let's talk about Walmart. We've talked a little bit about how Walmart made a lot of sense, at least to me, right? Because Walmart is close, so Walmart is within a few miles of a lot of America, and so they're firing up some deliveries, like we've talked about previously. Drone Up, Zipline has been doing deliveries. They were like doing drops from planes and stuff. But Drone Up is now firing up 3 locations, and they have some places in Arkansas where within a 1 mile range, if you live in that area, you can get a drone delivery to your house.
Well, if you do, I know this is a long shot. If you live in that area, I want to make a video with you about this. So if you or anyone you know, or if there's, let's just play the telephone game, right? If you could reach out to the person who is next closest to you, who you think lives closest to that area, you see what I'm getting at? I would love to get a hold of somebody who lives in this area. I don't want to just start calling numbers randomly, but I would love to find out what the experience of getting this drone delivery is like. So that seems pretty freaking cool. I will buy you stuff from Walmart if you document the process of the drone delivery for a video for me.
Hey, there you go. Free groceries.
Or diapers.
Or whatever, yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, so
All
pretty
right.
neat. It seems like not super scalable right now. They're like manually checking locations and making sure everything goes properly, but it is just testing. So it'll be interesting to see how that ends up.
Yeah. Is this just a novelty? Like
I think
self-driving cars and nuclear fusion?
I think last mile is like a big thing for shipping, right?
Yeah. We'll
And
see.
so if you can do last mile, like for any kind of reasonable cost, I think that will help a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's the big
Yeah.
thing is reasonable cost.
Yeah.
All right. MK says, why not contact Drone Up directly? That's interesting. I bet I mean, I don't know if I'm too small potatoes for them to pay attention, but yeah, I should just contact them and say, hey, I have a YouTube channel. I want to do a story about your drone delivery. Can I have a half hour of your PR person's time and we'll do a drone delivery to a customer? That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'd rather do it from a customer's perspective rather than, a sort of a packaged media thing, but
Yeah.
all
I
right.
wonder if they could like get you in touch with the customer or something. Maybe something
Yeah.
like that.
I bet they could.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool. I'm excited about this next one, Blunty. So let's talk about speed records for RC aircraft.
Yeah.
My understanding is that it may not be true anymore, but the fastest RC aircraft is actually an unpowered glider. Do you know about this?
I don't think I know that one. No.
So there is I think it's called not slope soaring. There's dynamic soaring. Basically, they go up to a mountain, and there's an air formation that happens when wind goes over a mountain, where as the fast-moving wind encounters the mountain, it goes up the slope, and then as it passes over the slope, it goes ridiculously fast. And so what they do is they take a glider, and they basically just make great big ovals, boom, 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 boom. And each time they go around, it goes faster and faster in the wind. And they like the record I heard was something like 400 plus miles an hour.
Nice.
So that was cool. But I think that powered flight has been approaching that. And I almost feel like powered flight belongs in a separate category. Because, I guess you can ride the wind as fast as the wind will go. So, good for you. But actually putting a motor on an aircraft and making it go is harder. This guy went 316 miles an hour.
Yeah. 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 So he's got a on one motor. So
it's a plane? It's not a multi-rotor.
Yes. Yeah, a little wing.
Okay.
Wingish sort of jet thing. But basically, he's got a 2,000 milliamp hour.
There it is.
14S battery. So he's got 3 4S's and a 2S in series. So he's got all strapped together for this thing.
14S.
14S,
Bunch of batteries
yeah.
in series.
Yep, 2,000 milliamp hour, 14S. So like 9,000 watts.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Jeremy Sarge points out that dynamic soaring is much faster than the wind. That's true. I guess what I meant is that you can extract energy from the wind is different than I will beat the air into submission with the power of my battery. They're different. It's a different way of, yeah. This is a
from the
custom
last time
motor?
we tried it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jeez, this thing's not big either. We've talked in the past about how with multi-rotor speed records, that aerodynamics just becomes so dominant. And,
Right.
You've got these 10S, these 12S quads trying to do these multi-rotor speed records. And as soon as you get a little aero, you could go 200 plus miles an hour on 6S. This guy, of course, having a wing doesn't have to worry about that so much. What the hell is happening to his video? Okay.
I think it was in a cloud, maybe? I'm not sure.
Oh. And presumably it's GPS clocked, right? The speed is GPS.
It's on the left side there. That's kilometers per hour.
480, 490, 500?
Yeah,
Sheesh.
509.
Now, did he do 2 runs, one way, one the other?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. Not in this video, but...
Oh, that's a shame. I mean, technically, I don't think... I mean, if you don't do 2 runs, one way, one the other, then I don't think it counts. Certainly doesn't count for a Guinness.
Yeah, well, you got to have Guinness out there now, too, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's good for him. He went real damn fast. We should check the video before we actually malign him if he did do 2 runs.
Yeah, I don't remember him doing 2, but maybe he did.
Yeah, okay. So let's go back. I was so busy talking, I wasn't even looking. Like, it always amazes me, Blunty, how these speed records don't actually look as fast as they really are. Because of the way you're up in the air.
I don't think there's a music behind this. If you want to, we can hear that motor. I think you can. Oh, there is music. Damn it. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. There we go. I mean, you got to trust the GPS, but he's also descending. That's something I've always wondered about.
It's kilometers per hour for people in the chat. So you'll see in the top of the video description, 509 kilometers per hour.
Impressive. Impressive. There's a link here to a 548 mile an hour dynamic soaring speed record. Wind gusting to 65 miles an hour. Okay, so you're going substantially faster than the wind. Check this shit out. Is there music? No. So check this out. Can you see this, Blunty?
Yeah.
They just go like this. It's frickin' line of sight too. Unbelievable. Woo! Oh, so fast. And I think they're radaring it.
404.
Yeah.
457.
Sheesh.
497.
Anyway, you get the gist. Don't hit yourself with that.
Yeah.
Well, very exciting. Speed record for FPV.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a argument, the most polite argument I've seen in FPV. Both of these guys ended up agreeing with each other, but that you should turn the ADC filter off in OpenTX. We actually talked about that. Did we talk about that on the news? I think we did.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. A little while back, we did a PSA when there was a kind of a resurgence of people remembering that, hey, we need to turn that thing off. And a lot of new people in the hobby hadn't heard about it. So about a few weeks ago, Pawel did a video. And he said, hey, everybody says turn this thing off, and mine's on. So I'm going to turn it off and see if I can feel it.
I mean,
so
like, I feel like this is... I feel like this is like saying if you're a chef and someone says, hey, you think this soup is too salty, and you go, nah, I don't really taste salt. Like, it feels, I mean, I think if you say I can't feel it, isn't that like saying I'm not, I mean, I've said I'm not that sensitive to latency, right? So I mean, you got to be honest about it, but I don't think, like, he says it's not that simple. Is he saying in this video, oh, it doesn't matter?
He's saying you should probably keep it off because if it does matter, it probably matters that it's off. But I can't feel a difference, and it doesn't seem like it's different to me. But if it's no different, then why not have it off?
Right.
That's kind of
if you can't, we know objectively that having it off reduces latency.
Yeah.
So whether you can feel it or not, it reduces latency.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You know, I feel like I would hesitate. I don't know. I guess I've said things like that before. I always hesitate, though. When I say I'm not that latency sensitive, I just feel like I have to be honest.
Yeah.
But I feel like I could tell the difference between ADC on and off.
Well, this is sort of like when we talked about the PID loop thing, right? Like 2K, 4K, 8K PID loops. Like if you can see there's PID error in the logs, that doesn't mean you can feel the PID error or it matters for flight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so that's kind of the similar thing. Like maybe the logs would show, like, and they will, that, hey, it's better with ADC filter off. But if you can't tell a difference in flight and it doesn't actually affect anything, how much does it matter? You know, that sort of thing. So I don't know. That's interesting. But however, in alternative perspective to that, let's say Johnny 5 released a video basically saying, hey man, I don't know how you can't feel it.
Right. If you can't feel it, it means that you are not very sensitive to latency. And the times when you get most I mean, Could it be that Pawel's flying iNav and there's a difference between the way iNav and Betaflight handle the RC command? Could that be?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I mean, I know Betaflight's done a lot of stuff to the RC filtering code and stuff, so...
Right.
Yeah, that is very possible.
Maybe iNav, and I don't want to... Pawel, please don't freak out. I'm not trying to accuse iNav. I'm not trying to shit-talk iNav. But maybe iNav just has more sort of built-in latency or more smoothing built in. And so when you turn the ADC filter off, it doesn't make that much of a difference. I mean, I don't think anybody would say that iNav is as high performance as Betaflight for like precision acro and racing flying. So when Pawel takes presumably iNav, although I don't want to get the, do you know, did he fly iNav in his video?
I'm not sure that he says anywhere. I was looking for that, but I don't believe he says that.
So he takes presumably iNav out and he turns the ADC filter off and he rips it to the best of his ability. But I wonder if you were to give that quad to somebody like a Vanover or a Evan Turner, and they would go, "Oh my God, there's so much latency on this thing. It's so sloppy." And it's just you're used to the latency, so you don't notice when you get a tiny bit less. But somebody who's not used to it, like Johnny 5, I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, a couple of people in chat are asking, do you have to turn it off on Freedom TX? From what I've heard, you have to turn it off on a Mambo, but you don't have to turn it off on a Tango. Like the Tango 2 does not have the option to turn it off, but the Mambo for some reason does. That's the last I heard. So you might still check in the hardware menu on your radio to make sure it's not there.
Yeah. Quick Flash, who is the main Emu Flight developer, for anyone who doesn't know that, points out that it's more than just latency. When you turn off that ADC filter, he says it helps smooth your stick overall. Turning the ADC filter off, I mean, turning it on would smooth your sticks more, hence the additional latency. Turning it off smooths your sticks less, technically, although the flight controller is ready for that. Yeah, turning it off is less smoothing, right? I mean, you want less smoothing because you want Betaflight or EmuFlight to be doing the smoothing, not the crappy smoothing done by OpenTX. Yeah, it's better smoothing. It's not doing like a 3-sample average or whatever it is that OpenTX does.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, on is stepping. So it has like the steppy bar thing. Off is actually like smoother, right?
Well, off has more resolution.
Because when you're steppy, then Betaflight doesn't know, or the filter doesn't, the RC input doesn't know how to handle the steppiness, because it's expecting you to have a smooth input.
Oh, I see.
So with it on, the steppiness messes up the RC input, and then you
get weird input. However,
that's my understanding.
What kind of quick flash? What kind of filter does the ADC use? Basically, I think what you guys are saying is that the ADC filter uses a crappy kind of smoothing that results in stair-stepping. And when you turn that off and give Betaflight the full resolution noisy signal, Betaflight or EmuFlight uses a more sophisticated form of filtering that produces a smoother RC command.
I think that's right.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you can't tell the difference, that's on you, Grandpa. I mean, I can tell the difference clearly.
Yes.
Not in a blind test. No.
Yeah.
Linear averaging, people are saying.
Yeah. So what I would say is, make sure you have it off. I guess there's another reminder to make sure you have it off. So.
And both Pawel and Johnny 5 agree that it should be off, even though Pawel says he can't feel it. Steve Blackmore says, I'm scared of iNav. People want to know if I'm going to be covering iNav for the release of iNav 4. I'm scared of it. There are lots of things out there I'm scared of. Also known as don't have time for or I'm not that interested in.
Yeah.
I'm scared of them.
Where's all your wing videos, JP? Come on.
Yeah. I actually was thinking about making some cannabis videos, but I got scared.
Yeah. Well, it's only natural.
I saw this movie. It's called Reefer Madness. It really made me question any association I might have had with cannabis. Apparently, it's really, really problematic.
Yeah, apparently it's like your brain turns into a smashed egg. I've heard that.
This is your brain on drugs. Yeah, no, that's true. All right, next up.
All right, so this is, I guess, pretty much in your neck of the woods as much as it could be, because this is a Joshua Bardwell voicewell.
Yes, sir.
I said voicewell. Joshua Bardwell voice pack. We have the blue-green, which is Cindaday, or Cindaday. I always get that name wrong. Who did the slicing up and managing of the repo, and then IDV, who organized and matched up the file names and stuff, shortened them up and wrote their descriptions, came together to make this little voice pack from the voice stuff you recorded. So
I feel a little, and I know this is petty of me, but I feel a little bit disappointed that I'm not here as a contributor. And I know this is GitHub. No, but look, contributors too.
Yeah, but if you scroll down, they have listed.
No, I know. I know. No. It's just a PR. Right. It's a quirk of the way GitHub is that I've never had a PR approved. I want to submit a token PR just so I can be listed as a contributor.
So one of the things, if you scroll down, one of the things they are asking for is a couple more voice lines, so you could PR in some more voice line.
Oh, I would have to learn how to GitHub.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is still a work in progress. If you want to try it out, it's here on the releases page. Again, links to all this stuff in the show notes. If you want to, yeah, go ahead.
It's done enough that like it'll work. You could drop it in, and I believe all the like correct lines are there. But there may need to be some adjusting around, some more trimming of the audios and stuff. This is the technical 1.0 little release of this, so everybody can start testing it and see what's going on.
Yeah, and for you'll see that there are raw, old, normalized. There's various steps along the way. If you like, I heard somebody say that on HDZero it sounded a little bit like didn't sound the best, and I don't know. I haven't actually had a chance to download it and test it yet. Maybe I should do that. But I'm just glad I found the time to record the damn thing. If you think that there's ways it could be improved, it's an open source GitHub project, so you can absolutely submit a pull request and be like, hey, I did some fancy equalization to make this sound better. And I'm sure that that would be welcomed if that's the kind of thing you know how to do. So cool. Great. If you have requests for voice lines you would like me to read, you could submit an issue on that GitHub repo. And then I will make another pass sometime along the way.
For sure. Good stuff.
Well, the next story, Blunty, you said that this was not a case where I whined and ranted and then people did what I wanted. And I said, is this, did I make this happen? And you said, no, everybody's been asking for this. And I reject that. And I choose to believe that I drove this decision through my whining because it makes me feel like I'm important, and I need that.
Right. Fair enough.
So what is this thing that I have wrought?
All right. So we've talked about here before a few times, and many people have asked for Tracer to have LORA support, because Tracer only does what FHSS, FLRC, yeah. And Ghost and Express LRS do LORA, and Ghost does both. So now Tracer has Trappy has said Tracer will do LORA coming up.
And the reason I've whined about this, in case you're new here and you haven't heard me, I'm not going to do the whole 20-minute rant, but the reason I've whined about this is that it's like my car. Blunty, my car has several different driving modes, right? There's like track mode where you're just all out. And there's normal mode where it like you get better gas mileage and it doesn't, the minute you hit the gas pedal, it doesn't go back in the seat. And it's even got like rain and wet mode where it's like super dials down the engine so you don't, put your Mustang into a freaking pillar. And Tracer to this day has only had the highest performance mode. FLRC, the highest throughput, the lowest latency, and Trappy has said, well, that's all anybody should want. And the problem is that it also has the shortest range. And they make up for that somewhat by going to 1 watt of output power. Blah. But a lot of people are like, why can't I just choose to have the slower, longer range one if I want it?
Yeah, 1 watt, that's ludicrous.
Ludicrous power. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that the hardware in Tracer can do it. It's just a code level change. How hard are they, right? Just write some code, right? And ExpressLRS does it, and Ghost does it. They have all of the above. Well, technically, ExpressLRS doesn't do FLRC. So technically, should whine about that too. But they work for free, and TBS takes your money. So I feel like they, Anyway, so apparently, Trappy said, and I checked with him, by the way. I was like, hey, is this legit? Were you serious? He said, yep. When is LORA on Tracer coming? Version 6.14.
Yeah, we are currently on 6.12, and they skipped a version from 6.10 to 6.12. Mm-hmm. So, hopefully, 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that it's going to be longer than that. When 6.14, they have other things they're working on before 6.14 gets here. But Trappy, he wouldn't throw that number around just idly. He means it. So, what was the question there? Isn't ExpressLRS the fastest link, and it's on LORA? Asks 33 Eyes. Well, ExpressLRS is close to the same latency as Tracer. When Crossfire V3 comes out and is fully implemented, Tracer will be faster. And I think Tracer has a tiny edge now, like a 1 or 2 millisecond. But ExpressLRS accomplishes that with LORA by being very, very efficient with their data usage. They have very small packets. Tracer has big, fat Crossfire packets that can do things like Mavlink telemetry, but because they have such big packets, in order to get that higher data rate, in order to get that higher packet rate and low latency, they need more throughput, and they have to use FLRC. If ExpressLRS was to use FLRC, they would get presumably much lower latency and much shorter range.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of about where the trade-off is on what you want to do. But I think currently it's just been, the latency has been so unbelievably low already on ExpressLRS. There hasn't been a big push to move away from LORA. Whereas the argument for Tracer not having LORA and just having FLRC is that, we want the ability to fly farther and avoid fail-safes and stuff like that versus this like super low latency. And so, now they're giving it to us, hopefully.
That's one of the things I like about Ghost, is that on Ghost, I can choose to have, I typically fly Ghost at 160 hertz LORA, which is the fastest data rate Ghost gives you that has telemetry. But if I wanted to go to 250 or 500 hertz with FLRC, I could. I have the option, and that's what I want. That's what I want from Tracer, since the hardware supports it. UAV Tech says ExpressLRS is faster than Tracer. I thought I checked.
Not according to your chart. Yeah.
Yeah, I checked your chart. Right, I checked your chart. Thank you.
Average end-to-end on ExpressLRS is 5. Ghost is 4. But
and Tracer?
Yeah. And Tracer is, was only telemetry on 8 channel is 6. So end-to-end was 1 millisecond longer.
Oh. Maybe it's the Crossfire V3 thing where Trappy says Tracer is faster. They're as close as makes no difference, bottom line. So good. I'm happy. And frankly, Blunty, as much as I would like to make it about me and my whining and the power of my voice and my bully pulpit, it probably is ExpressLRS that drove this decision. I mean, to be honest.
For sure. Well, it seems like that's what's been pushing most of the links, though you do have to ask, would Ghost have pushed it the same way?
No, I don't think so, because Ghost I don't think Ghost has enough market share to make TBS or Trappy care. And I think ExpressLRS is growing fast enough that I feel like I don't claim to read his mind or know his thoughts, but if it was me, I would be like, oh shit, I better get out ahead of this. Yeah. UAV Tech says, no, check the chart again. ExpressLRS is faster.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. I would like to see it on current firmware for sure. Because like Jai mentions, ExpressLRS can do megabaud now, but I think Crossfire V3 is basically megabaud, right? Like, where like can also do increased baud rates and stuff. So I'm not exactly sure. Yeah.
Good. You guys keep fighting neck and neck. It just is better for the customers.
Yes, for sure.
And that's interesting. I just thought of this. Crossfire was the de facto go-to control link for high performance for several years. And then the minute Immersion RC releases Ghost, suddenly TBS is like, hey, we got this tracer thing we've been working on. And they rush it out. Huh.
Yeah.
And now Express LRS is sort of, I would say Express LRS is nipping at their heels. They would say, that's ridiculous. Of course not. No one nips at our heels. Our heels are impervious. But, and now they're like, oh, let's do this thing. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good guide TBS. I mean, good on them for doing the right thing eventually, as they always do, eventually.
Right.
All right, what's next, Blunty?
All right. So let's look at a bicopter. I got sent this quite a few times, and I thought maybe we'd take a look at the V-Copter Falcon, the first, as far as I know, commercially available bicopter, birotor.
Oh my God! Look at that.
So pretty neat.
Okay.
It's basically just your typical camera drone, but a birotor. So I don't know. It's interesting to see this come to market like this, because in the videos it performs very much like a Mavic or something, you know. And it's not even from somebody like DJI. So I think it's pretty interesting to see, the performance this thing gets.
And I should give a big shout out to Flight Path, who is he does more camera drone stuff. I've watched some of his content. And since we're basically showing his video here on our stream, we should give him a shout out and hope he doesn't copy strike us. There's a link to his video down in the video description if you want to watch the full review. But
I also got Ken Heron also did one, so since he's FPV guy, I also put him in there.
Oh, well, let's shout him out. We know he won't copy strike us.
And
He hasn't got the balls. What is this thing? All right, it's some goofing around and shenanigans, as is always the case with Ken.
For sure.
What this thing looks like? It looks like a drone that someone crashed and broke. It looks like half a drone, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like someone
does, right?
Oh my God, that is crazy.
Not super cheap, but it does 4K and stuff. I'd like to see. There's not a lot of talk about actual comparisons to Mavic and stuff. It's more just what flight modes and stuff it has. I haven't seen a really good breakdown of exactly how it compares to the Mavic options and stuff, because obviously it's a random company making it. But
right. I can't help but notice that the footage as it's moving away, I saw it rocking back and forth, and I was like, is that stabilized by the gimbal? Oh, that looked okay. That looks okay. That looks pretty stable. What are you doing, Ken? Wait a minute. What kind of video is this? Let's get back to Ken's beautiful face. That's crazy. And of course he crashed it. Okay. There's a link to that product page and those videos in the... Really, Zero Tech?
Somebody else's search just went invalid too. Just another FPV place.
Okay. Way to go, Zero Tech. We got another birotor here. Now, DroneNut X1 claims to be the first birotor drone, but we just watched a birotor drone, Blunty. I'm not sure if there's an intentional irony there.
There is part of why I back-to-back this.
I thought so.
Yeah,
they claim to be.
Yeah. Well, you'll see it says it right there in the video.
Whoa! This is coaxial. This is coaxial birotor?
Yeah, top and bottom birotor, yeah.
Oh, no, this is way cooler. What the frick? That's freaky. I know what it's doing, but that's really something. That is really something. I'm so much more impressed by this. That is something. Completely enclosed props. I guess the question, Blunty, would have to be, how is this different than a ball drone quadcopter? Which is also collision tolerant.
That's where my head goes for sure.
Yeah.
Is like, I understand this, but they are asking $9,800 for this.
Oh God, no. No, 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 no.
Yeah, so
No.
basically it has 4K camera that goes to like a phone app similar to like a Mavic would do, right? It has LiDAR. It looks like a small window LiDAR because it's not like a spinning LiDAR on the outside of the craft. So there are some features there, and then they talk about autonomy in the flight control system. So you know, it can do, you know, controls from the system and just different autonomous stuff it can handle. But yeah, I just don't know that I see 10 grand worth of value here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what weird expensive sensors are on there. You know, like an infrared camera, LiDAR. You know, $9,800 for the drone. Of course, that would be a lot. It is pretty cool. Nevertheless, Locrian thinks it reminds him of this classic.
Wheatley.
Yeah, reminds you a lot of that. Interesting. There is a lot of interest in this sort of telepresence, if you will. Like, I saw a video that I think it was Tom Scott did where they're using the Boston Dynamics robot dogs at a remote dam pumping station where it's like, you know, it's whatever 20 miles up the mountain from the control station, and it needs to be inspected regularly, but it's kind of a big deal to go up there, especially in the winter when the road is closed. And they had these Boston Dynamics dogs walking basically a route and taking pictures of different things as they went. And it feels like a similar kind of situation where you might use a drone like this, where it's safe to use indoors, it's not going to crash, it's protected, and you can sort of fly it around to do inspections. Boston Dynamics dog isn't going to go up above the pipes in the ceiling, for example. Not yet.
Sure. Yeah, I think this is neat. I think the main thing will be like, yeah, it's so small that there's possibility where like the ball drone can't quite achieve the same thing. You know, but I do think that, yeah, this is very similar. It reminds me a lot, like the very first thing you mentioned, of those ball drone style things. So I think there might be a niche here, but for me, like, I don't know, I feel like the price would have to come down, or like we'd have to see more of this automation stuff they're talking about. Like, hey, let's see it like, you know, guarding a hallway and stuff. You know, it's like a couple, we were talking in the Discord chat, and a couple of guys were mentioning like, hey, it would be neat if you could like buy one of these and replace a security guard in your hallway. You know, it just flies around and then recharges itself and, you know, watches the area for you, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so like a Roomba.
Yeah, flying Roomba.
Yeah. Cool. Very interesting. There's something about that form factor really just got me. Like, even if it just was so much cooler than if it had been like a mini quadcopter. Because if you have one thing you get with a bicopter, with a coaxial, is you can have like a 6-inch prop or a 7-inch prop. So you get all the efficiency and thrust advantages of the big prop. But your aircraft as a whole is no bigger than the prop itself. And that's kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could make, I mean, I guess you could just make a ball drone in the same way, right? A coaxial ball drone, right?
Sure. Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
So. Rotor Riot, get on it.
Yeah.
$9,600, they might do it.
Yeah.
Before we go on, I just want to say a shout out to Mr. Stubbs in the Discord server, who is going through some stuff, and I'm not going to share all his personal stuff on the whole stream, but suffice to say, Mr. Stubbs, we wish you the best, and sorry to hear that things aren't going well for you. So it was good getting to meet you in Atlanta for the Flow State showing, and I'm sorry to hear that you're having some troubles. Anyway, let's finish up. We got one more topic, the rant. We're going to close with the rant. And this rant is about, I had this problem recently, Blunty, where I was unclear about the relationship between all of the people involved in making Kiss FetTech? Kiss Ultra?
Yeah. So basically today, it's not super ranty, but it's more like, hey, let's try to clear up the air a little bit, right? Because I've seen this question a lot. I know you've gotten a couple things wrong. A couple other people have gotten things wrong. I've seen a lot of confusion on Facebook.
Don't say I got things wrong. That hurts.
So.
I was unclear on the facts and misspoke. Geez,
All right.
say I got something wrong. Ouch.
Let's re-speak what you spoke in the right way. Yeah, so just a lot of people, it's just a confusion I've seen everywhere. And so I just wanted to clear it up, and hopefully we can do it in one place. So it's a little easier for people to get, because, yeah, like RC British says, searching for Kiss Ultra doesn't bring up anything, because it's not very easy to figure out. So,
yeah.
All right, we've got Kiss, right? Kiss, originally Kiss. Okay, Flyduino made Kiss. There were different people there at the time, right? People have split off and gone different places, but Flyduino was the original Kiss. Kiss V2, Kiss V1, Flyduino ESCs, right? The Kiss ESCs. These are all made by Flyduino.
Okay.
This hardware runs Kiss. The
Kiss
actual firmware
code.
Called Kiss.
Kiss.
Yes.
Okay, the firmware is called Kiss. The company is Flyduino. I think there was a guy named Paul. Is he Paul Flyduino?
Paul is that Flyduino from my understanding, yes.
And
it's, again, hard to find this information, so.
owns the license to the name and the brand Kiss.
And the software, yeah.
Who wrote the code, the original Kiss code for Flyduino?
Okay, I was trying not to get into this because I don't know. Like,
you don't know.
I can tell you, I can guess, but I don't want to give you the wrong information
well,
because everybody's going to get mad at me.
Okay, well, let's not do that. But someone wrote that code. We're not going to get it wrong. And then along comes Alexander Fedorov, who is a coder and a generous guy who donated his time to work on the original KISS project and was allowed to submit pull requests and participate, but was not employed by KISS or Flyduino in any official sense.
I have no idea.
That's what he told me. I'm interjecting that.
Okay.
Because Alexander Fedorov is affiliated with, well, you're going to get there, but he's also associated with the original KISS project. He contributed to it.
Yeah.
And that's part of why it gets a little confusing if you're not already know the info. Anyway, continue.
Okay. So KISS, Flyduino makes KISS. There's KISS ESCs, KISS V1 and V2 FCs. Okay, that is made by KISS, managed by KISS, owned by KISS. That all runs the KISS code.
Flyduino.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay? Then there's Ultra. Okay? Ultra is run by Alexander Fedorov, I believe is the only person who runs Ultra. Ultra makes their own flight controllers called the KISS FC Ultra, maybe where you heard FC. And that runs Ultra code. Ultra code is Alexander's stuff that's 85% Alexander's code on top of a 15% KISS base.
Right.
So most of the code is new and stuff that Alexander has done.
So
lot of new changes in Ultra, but it runs on a very, the very base is KISS.
Is this kind of like a Clean Flight, Beta Flight situation? Like Boris was originally contributing to Clean Flight, and then Boris went off and made Beta Flight, and he didn't completely rewrite, so that's a difference. But Alexander was contributing to the KISS project under Flyduino, and then later he breaks off and he makes his own code base and his own hardware.
Yes, he had rights to that code, and he pays a license for those flight controllers, so he's able to do what he wants with that code, and he's rewritten that code, 85% of it, and 15% as the base KISS code.
And part of what makes this confusing is that the KISS Ultra flight controllers made by Alexander Fedorov are sold on the Flyduino website through their store, which leads some people to think that Flyduino is creating them, but that is not the case. They just are sold on the store.
Yeah, so let's get this all laid out here. Okay, so then FetTech is the last company, okay? FetTech is run by Felix, okay, Felix Neeson. Felix runs FetTech. FetTech runs KISS firmware targets, but also now runs FetTech firmware targets. So they've developed their own firmware from the ground up, no KISS license at all. It is FetTech firmware, no FetTech code, written from scratch. And you can either flash for most of their hardware now, both the G4 and the F7. You can flash either FetTech or KISS currently on FetTech hardware.
Okay.
Yeah, so hopefully that helps. There's still a lot here. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but hopefully that collection of information.
Today, I think the takeaway is that there are two living branches of KISS. One is FetTech and one is KISS Ultra.
Well, it seems like there have been submissions. There have been pushes. Like if you go look, the KISS V2 firmware has been updated in the last like 12 days or something. So I do believe
Oh,
Arduino
for
is
people
doing something.
for people still maybe running the old KISS V2s, they're
Yeah,
still
I
keeping
believe
the are they still making hardware? Are they still making KISS
I
V2s?
don't. I think I heard they're only selling backstock. Again, I don't know that information. I wasn't. This is not stuff you can easily confirm.
Gotcha.
So I'm trying to only share information I know. Right.
Okay. So the KISS, the old original KISS code base may still be alive in some sense, but we don't think that we don't know. We don't know if the hardware is still being manufactured. The modern stuff using like, you know, modern processors and so forth is either the Ultra or the FETTech.
Yes. Yeah, and then now they both have their own branches. So now you can run Ultra with its Ultra code, or FETTech with its FETTech code, or KISS code.
And this is relevant because the FETTech and the KISS Ultra code, KISS Ultra diverged from the KISS code base, which was run by FETTech, and Alexander Fedorov made some would say, improvements to the PID loop and the flight characteristics. And so you might think, as I would have thought 2 months ago, if you buy a KISS flight controller, whether it's a KISS Ultra or a FETTech, it's all running the same code. And that actually is not true. And you can't assume that they'll have the same features or the same flight characteristics.
Yeah.
All right.
I hope that helps people.
That's my review. I believe I can get it right when I go to the KISS dating game and they ask me, Bachelor number 1. So
yeah.
Thank you for that, Blunty. Thanks for doing that research. Big FPV thinks FETTech will eventually leave KISS firmware behind and move to their own code base. Didn't you say they just did that?
Yeah, so in
Good
alpha
prediction.
Right now, in alpha right now they have their own code. That is what if you go on their Discord or contact them, and they can get you their alpha code base, which is the new tester code for their complete rewrite of the code. No KISS at all in there.
UAV Tech just posted a link to his latest data sheet on the RC links. Ghost was the lowest end-to-end, then Express LRS. Tracer had a lot of jitter. So, Akash Jana wants to know, is it really true that KISS doesn't need to be tuned? No, that's not true.
No.
Everything needs to be tuned. If the quad that you build is exactly like the quad that they made the default PIDs for, then you may get a good flight experience out of the defaults. And some firmwares will have a wider envelope for how far you can deviate from their assumptions about the default PIDs before you notice bad things happening. Okay? So, I mean, there's a reason why people say KISS doesn't need to be tuned. It means that either the default PIDs for KISS are better for the quad that you're flying, or it means that KISS has a wider tuning envelope where you get good results on a wider variety of hardware. But I promise you there are people out there having crunked. Tell them it's true. I promise you there are people out there who are like, oh my God, how do you PID tune this problem I'm having with KISS?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Nothing is perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they all use the same configurator tool, Blunty? The KISS Ultra, the FETTech, etc.?
No, FETTech has a FETTech configurator now, I believe, for just the FETTech stuff, and then Ultra has its own Ultra configurator thing. So that's my understanding.
All right. All righty. Well, thank you so much for doing that research, Blunty. That is going to bring us to the end of the news. Normally, I would read the super chats here, but I don't see any super chats. I'm kind of concerned that they just weren't showing up. But so I'm going to real quick check on my back end. I'm going to check my back end. Nope, no super chats. Not a single super chat for this whole live stream. I ain't mad. I'm just disappointed. Thanks so much for coming out, Blunty.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks everyone for being here on the stream. We always say it, but please make sure you email news@fpvknowitall.com. We appreciate getting your emails and getting the news. So also don't forget to go down there and hit the like button. The dislike button might not even be showing for you, but now you can hit the like button and we can see that. And you can go comment on this video afterwards. That's always helpful. And we appreciate Kevin Turner just gave a $4.99 super chat as well.
Thank you, Kevin Turner. And if you missed any part of the live stream and you'd rather watch it in clips format, there's a link in the video description to my live stream clips channel where I put all the news items and also individual clips and excerpts from my weekly live stream. So I'd love to have your subscription over there as well, if that's the kind of thing you're interested in. That's going to do it for us tonight, though. We'll see you next week at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody who's about to celebrate Thanksgiving this week. Same to you, Blunty.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. And a couple last-minute super chats.
Oh, God. Yeah, see, I knew whining would get me some super chats. That's $12 that I didn't have before I whined. Whining pays off. All right. Thank you, JT Custom Knives, for a $2 super chat. And Jordan Cameron, thank you for $5. JB and Blunty, you are gems. All righty. Bye, everybody. Have a great week.
Later, guys.
Peculiar Humming Human Biped, thank you for 5 Swiss francs. All right, we're off.